Hello. I go by a mark of reality online, and today I'm going to talk to you about the world according to Mark in regards to the Millie Alcock Supergirl movie. Um, I've seen a lot of reviews, and I don't disagree with all of them. Um, I do disagree on whether or not it was good, bad, indifferent. I give it more credit than a lot of the other folks out there do. First off, I'm not trying to shill for anything. I'm not being paid or rewarded in any way to make a favorable review. And I don't really disagree with a lot of the criticisms of this movie, especially the parts about a lot of the plot holes, a lot of um, the what we see progressive leftist run film companies doing to women these days, trying to make them look ugly. Now, I know that the studio said that they were trying to make Millie Alcock look, edgy or whatever you want to call it, down and out, whatever. But still, I think these are excuses because they almost always try to make attractive women look ugly. And I see a lot of thumbnails out there of other people's reviews showing Chaka from Land of the Lost as Millie Alcock, and it's pretty funny. Sorry, Millie, but that's how the internet rolls. Um, Basically, I think they were trying to destroy her female form, or whatever you wish to call it, by having her in a trench coat all the time. And then she runs around the movie looking really pretty gross. A puking alcoholic peeing with the door open. Oh, God. Um, Saw some close ups of her where they were trying to make her look like she's suffering, I guess, the bad effects of a green sun. But if you look, it actually looks like they're trying to make her look older, like not a 26-year-old or 23-year-old woman, but more like a 45 to 50-year-old woman. So they took a beautiful 26-year-old woman and turned her into something that has the face of a 50-year-old woman and the body of a 10-year-old boy. Yeah, in my opinion. Um, and I don't believe I'm alone in that opinion. Now, as far as going to the theater, I went to see it right off the bat. I was in at 4:30 Eastern uh, Standard Time, US, on a Thursday, opening Thursday, premiere Thursday. And I was only one of four people in the theater. Had a couple sitting uh, in the same row I was, and some fellow way up back in the distance. Ugh, that is not a good sign. Not at all. Um, as far as Millie Alcock, runner up, standing in on the red carpet, I think that's kind of what gave it the substandard opening weekend, opening day. Can't come out and attack Christian males and Christian fathers or basically Western men in a comic book movie. You got to realize that comic books are basically a male power fantasy from when we're little boys to growing up. Now, there are comic book movies that have done well with the female audience, but they weren't looking for a female lead. I think the best one was the first Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa with his shirt off. You know, ladies liked that one. Anyway, um, going on, the movie starts off with um, Crypto basically whizzing on Superman's face in a newspaper, another sign of disrespect towards men, in line with their Hollywood progressive ideology. And as a side note, there's a big, what would you call it, a meme or theme going around that, well, people are just sick and tired of superhero movies. No, they're sick and tired of movies that have been subjugated to a bunch of progressive ideological political BS, like, a dog pissing on Superman just to get back at the misogynist chuds or whatever they are. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, um, like I said, there are a number of plot holes in this movie. I'm not going to go over all of them because there are a million other reviews out there that can give you very, very good in-depth reviews of the plot holes, and I don't disagree with any of them. I suggest Disparu, who has a very good review, and if you want to do a deep dive on the plot holes, like why didn't they just send Crypto to a yellow sun instead of some witch doctor out in the boonies of the galaxy, or how did the bad guys happened to show up right where her spaceship was parked and had been parked for a while. Some sort of serendipity thing. Anyway, um, this movie goes on though from the dog peeing on the face to a little girl getting her family murdered by the bad guys, and then they don't show up until the little girl actually finds Supergirl's spaceship because she was looking for her, but the bad guys weren't. They show up by accident. But little girl, first there's a bar scene as well where you have the typical progressive, overpowered female character. Millie Alcock is playing Supergirl there, and she's supposed to be powered down because it's in a bar underneath a red sun. Um, Maybe she's just powered down and has a little bit of energy left, but still, um, she beats up this alien that's like 5 times her size and saves the little girl and gives the little girl back um, a MacGuffin, a sword that the little girl had that the alien just basically walked up and yanked right out of her hands and tried to take off with. Um, After that, the little girl's following Supergirl around, trying to get Supergirl to help her on her quest to kill the lead bad guy, and then the bad guys show up at the spaceship where it's parked in a field somewhere, where Crypto comes running back to try to defend the spaceship from the bad guys, and they shoot him with a couple poison darts, and they take off. And of course, the only Cure for the poison is some little vial of antivenom the guy has on him. And Supergirl has to go find the guy. There's parts, like I said before, parts that I like, and I'm not trying to make this a shill video. And I've laid out a lot of things I did not like about it. But parts that I liked was when her spaceship got stolen by the bad guys who found it on the planet and shot her dog. She goes on this bus, and it's an interstellar spaceship bus. She has run-ins with all the other passengers and such, but um, along the way, these space pirates, all female, and hijackers, whatever you want to call it, invade the bus, and they have this little teleportation device where they can. It looks like they can jump like about 10 to 20 feet. They basically jump around the bus, and then Supergirl gets a hold of it and uses that as her superpower to try and defeat the bad guys. But at one point, I believe that the little jump device gets smashed, so she can't use that anymore, and she ends up in the airlock. You throw her out the airlock on the dark side of a planet, and she kind of drifts around to where the yellow sun is coming up, and she gets recharged, and then she's able to win the day. I kind of like that part. I know there are criticisms that, why didn't you keep the little jump device? Why didn't you just jump to the side of the planet with the yellow sun? I don't think the device was supposed to be that capable. And I'm also pretty sure it got smashed or destroyed in the violence on the bus, but oh well. Um, Another part that I liked was when Supergirl ran into the bad guys on a planet with a yellow sun, and she gets in a big fight with all of them. And okay, I believe that, it was my opinion that Lobo showed up and white knighted for her. Although I've been kind of slapped down on that with other folks in arguments on the internet, saying that no, he did not white knight for her. All he did was help her in the fight. But I really enjoyed that little fight scene. Um, as far as winning the rest of the fight with the bandits, the bad guys, one thing you got to know about the bad guys is they're basically ISIS. They're gathering up females to force into marriages back at their place or whatever, and um, they're gonna raise the boys as their own and like discard the girls that are born. But that plus there's another part where the little girl with the sword who's following Supergirl around, they have to dress her up in a burqa in order to keep her safe so that she doesn't get nabbed by the interstellar bad guys. And I think this was, like I said before, kind of a good allegory to um, look at Middle Eastern violence. And Middle Eastern violence that has gone out of the Middle East. Anyway, they end up on this planet with two suns. One's green, one's yellow. Green makes Kryptonians sick and possibly dead, according to the new lore. And yellow, of course, it charges, Kryptonians up. Red, I believe the Krypton in the old lore was supposed to be circling a red sun, so it didn't, they were all just normal there. But um, Supergirl ends up in a cave trying to escape the green sun rays while the planet slowly spins. Um, the little girl gets kidnapped by the bad guys, put in a cell. You have some more overpowered female action when the little girl finally escapes the cell. I mean, she takes out a dude that's like three times her own size, and at one point she spits in the face of one of the bad guys, well, the head bad guy. And number one, if she had done that to a bad guy that was supposed to be as bad as he was made out to be in the movie, then he probably would have just killed her right there. And after he left, and she was able to take out this guard that was, many times her size, I don't buy that either. Um, Interesting side note. I know a lot of young girls or women might get propagandized by such fight scenes to make them feel stronger than they actually are, and then end up getting uh, severely hurt or killed. Ladies, please remember this is fiction. If you watch this stuff, especially the ladies who've never been in a fight before, don't bite off more than you can chew. I think these progressives are trying to train you to do stupid things. Anyway, Millie, well, Supergirl, she has a big fight after the green sun goes down, the yellow sun goes up, and Lobo, who is also captured in that same prison a little girl was in, but a different cell, he goes up to fight the bad guys too. They're all standing on the roof, for reasons we don't know. Um, at one point, Supergirl leaves the other two on the roof to fight all the bad guys, and she goes in to save the women who've been captured by the bad guys, which she does. And I kind of like that part. I also kind of like the fight that happened. And I know some people say that, it was boring because we've seen it all before, but um, this is the kind of movie you're going to watch, dudes. You got to expect the good parts are going to be these kinds of fights. Right. Anyway, there's a point where the little girl is hanging on literally by a thread. Um, I think that's kind of unrealistic because I don't think she has the strength to hold herself up with one hand. I don't think she could do a pull up with two hands. But overall, I did appreciate the movie. I was able to suspend disbelief, probably partially due to the fact that I had the theater to myself. And I just kind of, I thought it was fun. I'm not going to say it was great or wonderful or anything like that. Um, there are way too many plot holes, and I'd give it about a D plus or a C minus, because even though there were parts I liked, and there were some comedic parts that I liked, I especially liked the part where um, they had the giant slug pooping popcorn, and somebody comes along, oh, this tastes like shit. Kind of the idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm easily humored, but yeah, I'll give it a D plus, C minus. Um, if you're bored, uh, and you can put up with a slot movie that's just kind of fun, you can go see it. Otherwise, you might not want to. I mean, if you're going with your friends, if you're a hardcore nerd, I mean, honestly, I am a hardcore nerd. I've been a nerd all my life. Same age as Nerdrotic. But yeah, I had to really suspend my disbelief on a lot of old Superman lore and Supergirl lore. Anyway, C minus D plus is what I got for you at the end. So um, we'll call it a day.